Hey, it's Donny A. Today we're going to talk about a super simple method to be able to mix your rhythm and your lead. And we're going to use a simple box out of the pentatonic scale to connect your chords with lead licks. And we're going to do this in the key of G, and we're going to start out with just a 1 to a 5 chord progression, which would be G major to D major. And then we're going to do a 1 to a 6 chord progression, which would be G to E minor. Grab your guitar. Let's dive in. So the box that we're going to use is out of the form 3 of the pentatonic scale. So if you have a G major pentatonic, which is also an E minor pentatonic, you probably know the open position. So the form 3 would start on your 5th fret. It's 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, and that's the little box that we're going to use to connect these chords. So when you're playing a G major chord, two of your fingers are already inside of this box on the 5th fret. So we can use that to our advantage here. But first I want to talk about one good thing when you're starting out playing chords and scales together is that you really need to tighten up your strumming, because it's really hard if you're doing these big open strums to try and tighten up and start playing lead lines. So I'm gonna link video right here for palm muting. If you go watch that video, I talk a lot about how palm muting will help you anchor your hand to the guitar. And by anchoring your hand to the guitar, it's a lot easier to tighten up your strumming so you don't have so much wasted motion. And that helps you jump into lead lines quickly. And another thing that you can do here, since your fingers are already inside this box, use that to your advantage when you're playing your lick. So if you're taking a G major chord, your ring finger is typically a finger that you would use when you're playing scales anyways. So use that to your advantage and use that to slide into the box from 5 to 7. And now your index finger is in position to grab this as well. And then right underneath that box and within that box is your D major chord. So you have 2 fingers already within that box, and use that to your advantage too. Use your index finger and your ring finger when you're starting these licks off. And one more tip before you dive into this is to establish the rhythm or the strumming pattern that you're going to use before you just start adding licks right after your chords. So that gets it in your mind what your rhythm is that you're working with, and you kind of want to keep that lick within the rhythm that you're working with so that it's easier to jump back into the chords. So what I would do is just go through one measure of each chord with the rhythm you're playing before you start jumping in with the licks, like this. You could also do one full bar of the chord, and then your next bar could be a lick, and then you could do one full bar of the next chord and then a full bar of the lick. So if you're going to do something that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're going to go from the G to the E minor, we're going to have to add one note. So we still have this same box. And you don't have to add one note. It's just going to be more fun if you do, a little easier if you do. So your E minor is on your 7th fret. So your index finger is still within that box, but your ring finger is not. Your ring finger is now on the 9th fret of the D string. So we should use that to our advantage too. So what I mean by that is when you're going from your G to your E, you can slide into that before you grab your E chord. And when you're in your E chord and you're about to do your lick, you can use that 9th fret of the D string to get back into that box by sliding back with either your ring finger or your index finger on that D string, and now you're back inside that box. And this is super fun. This is how I started incorporating licks. I got taught this little box and how you're already in it with these forms of your chords. And you can also do this if you wanted to go from a G to an A minor. You can do that. With an A minor, you're already holding down 3 frets. That would be the 2 of your chord. Any chords in the scale, you can do this. It's a good practice to do it from your 1 to your 5 or your 1 to your 6, because there's just more movement there and it's right in between those. So have fun with this. If you like this lesson, please like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.